day.
That's my best David Lee Roth impression.
I like it. It was really good. Now Gusty's got to break into some Eddie.
I'm good.
All right, we're getting started in just a minute. Welcome to How to Increase Your Inventory in a Scarce Market. We are super excited to be here with you today because if you haven't noticed, inventory is a little short across the country. For everyone in the audience, are you experiencing a scarcity, a shortage of inventory in your market? Okay, so lots of pain. Congrats on the new listing today. All right, so we have, and Tina, are you on stage with us?
Hi, Genny. Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. We have a great group of people on the stage right now. I'm going to start with Gusty. Gusty, you've just had your best month for your team, and how many closings was that?
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. We closed in October 57 homes for over 13 million in volume. So it was our best month ever, and I've been running a team for, I guess, the last 9 years.
Which is incredible. How many of those were listings, do you know?
I tell you, we was really half and half, which was pretty unique. Historically, we were about 55% buyers, 45% sellers, but last month it was about 50.
Well, that is a great job. That's huge, Gusty. And Chad, you have closed over 400 homes just in the small city that you live in. About how many listings have you closed this year?
This year, let's see, I've got it pulled up right in front of me. I have closed 40 listings this year and 21 buyer sides.
That is a healthy business right there. Yes, it is amazing, right, Stephanie? So, and that's why I wanted to share with you is that we've got a lot of power on this stage. And Tina is from Fort Payne, Alabama. And Tina is consistently the #1 agent in her market. About how many listings have you been able to get closed this year?
Hey, Genny. I have closed 63 transactions this year, and of those 63, I think there has been 38 listings.
Wow. So that just makes me so proud for y'all. So let's get into, and me personally, I only market 4 listings. I've closed 37 transactions this year, and most of those have been listings. Let's talk about leads. All right. I want everyone in the audience to be able to get a lot of meat today. So, when you have scarcity and people are not listing like they normally are, where are you finding your listing leads? Gusty, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, so we've got about 26 different lead sources that we get business from, and that's whether it's listings or buyers. And I tell you, over the last 4 years, we've been advertising on radio, and radio has been a great lead source for listings. And so we advertise on country radio, we advertise on news talk radio. We are on a local independent station, and about 6 months ago, we started a real estate radio show. And so that is one thing that we have added as part of our listing, presentation is that's really one way for us to be really outside of the box and something that's unique from a, agent standpoint. So radio has been really good and has really kind of help with our branding standpoint, and then also allowed a lot of our sphere business for people to kind of self-identify and raise their own hands.
And with you having closed so many transactions per month, how many transactions have you closed your team year to date?
Year to date, we are almost at 400 homes to get. So we are very close to that number, and in the year right around about the 460 mark.
Okay, so you can imagine with that many past clients just in this year alone, you have a huge sphere of influence.
Yeah, and you've got to keep reaching out. You've got to be vocal on social media. You've got to reach out to folks, either by text message or check in with them. It's really, being that resource for, for your clients. And, comes more repetition that they see you, the likelihood of them, when they're being an agent, the likelihood that they're going to reach out to you. So it's really important to follow up and keep in touch with people and maintain those relationships.
Well, you're absolutely right. So I have interviewed, I wrote a course called the Certified Home Marketing Expert, and I interviewed about 200 home sellers and put surveys in closing attorneys' hands so that they didn't know where information was going. And I collected about 200 of these and did videos with home sellers to find out that most everyone said they got their listing agent, found their listing agent from a referral, which would be friend, family, coworker, sphere of influence, or from seeing signs of other agents in the neighborhood. So your sphere of influence is super important when you're talking about listings. Only one person out of over 200 surveys said they found their listing agent online. I think that is super important information. You really need to make sure you work that sphere of influence and that database because those people trust you. Buyers are a little bit different, and we're going to be talking about that next hour. But so Chad, I would say that probably, where do most of your listings come from?
I was sitting here listening to Gusty with his 26 lead sources. And so I just had this image pop into my mind. So Gusty's like a double barrel shotgun, and he is just like spreading it everywhere. And I'm more like a sniper rifle. So Gusty's got all these lead sources, all these places, but he's got a lot of people on his team to follow up with those leads and to go in all these different places. I'm more targeted to the area that I live in. I've been in the business 23 years. So I have over time, and it's taken a long time, I have targeted and built myself as sort of the go-to expert in my area. And so a lot of my business comes from name recognition, from people who already know me or at least know who I am. I do direct mailers to the town that I live in, Chelsea, Alabama, that little surrounding area. I've got a couple of billboards. I do social media stuff, but all of mine is the money that I spend on generating leads. I'm like you, I spend my money on generating seller leads, and I'm targeted on where I do it because I don't want to get spread too thin. I want to take over a small area. So most of mine comes from word of mouth, just community presence, and repeat and referral business.
And for our friends in the audience, Chad and I actually live in the same town, and he is the man in our tiny little town. So
I think you told me, I didn't actually see this, but I think you told me one time that, I want to say it was Nolly Williams did something on becoming a local celebrity. And
right.
That's not really what I set out to do. You know me and know that's not really my personality, but that's kind of what has happened. I mean, I go to the grocery store somewhere and the checkout lady is looking at me going, "Are you that guy on the billboard?" Or something like that. So
that's right. You can't help it. So somebody wanted to know, how tiny is our town?
We haven't gotten the latest census data in, but I know from the last one we were somewhere around 10,000 or so. I would imagine it's grown a good bit from there. It's somewhere in the 12 to 15,000 range, I would imagine.
Helped everybody give you a perspective. And I moved to this town from
in tiny little Chelsea, Alabama. I'm going to hit about $25 million in sales this year.
That's right. That's what I want to show y'all what is possible. And Tina is from a small town also. And she's from Fort Payne, Alabama. And Tina, what would you say is your best lead source? Finding listings.
Genny, my lead source comes from referrals, past business, friends of past business. But I'm finding that I'm going back to old habits of when I first started in real estate and getting new business by leaving my business card everywhere I go. My little car has a wrap, but mainly mine comes from past business, referral business.
Well, and one thing that I want to share with everyone in the audience, all three of these people have a really good social media presence. They're constantly reminding people, not only through paid ads, but also through posts with their clients and closings, which breeds trust. So a lot of that helps out a lot when you're talking about, because the number one thing right now when listings are scarce, sellers are looking for people they trust. So they're looking for those standout agents. They're looking for that expert, that mayor in their town. And all three of these agents have really been doing a great job conveying that they are the experts in their areas. So you heard radio for Gusty is a really good listing lead. You heard Sphere of Influence for both Chad and Tina does have her car wrapped. So that adds some visibility, and then Chad's got some billboards. So visibility is super important right now too, because you want to be inescapable is the word I always like to use for those prospective home sellers. So do any of you pay for listing leads?
I do not.
I don't. Other than, I mean, not specifically to get listing leads. I mean, I do, like I said, I mean, I guess I'm paying for leads by some of the things that I'm doing, that I am targeting sellers, but I don't pay any company to send me, phone numbers of potential sellers.
We're with radio, you pay for it. We've got virtual assistants that use RedX that reach out to for sale by owners and expired listings and book appointments for us. We get stuff from Dave Ramsey, so we pay referral. We're paying referral fees, and that's almost kind of like an advertising fee. So, I mean, I would say yes. Truly targeted, like a true targeted campaign, in my opinion.
Well, okay, so you heard that system and tool, that technology, RedX and Land Voice. There are a couple of companies that will provide you with those leads, like for sale by owner leads and expired leads. And last year I did, I called just a few expireds, took 2, and that has turned into maybe 5 sales so far. And it worked so well, I never did it again. How many of you in the audience do that when you find something that works really well and you never do it again? Yes, always guilty, right? Thank you all for being honest. So what type of marketing do you do, Chad? Whenever you send out your mailers, tell us a little bit more about how you're targeting and what your postcards look like.
So the postcard that I send out, on the front side of it, it's basically a copy of my billboard. which, my billboard is basically just, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's clean and just basically touts the fact that I'm the #1 selling agent in the area. And I think it works well, because of that. I think if it were just an oversized business card hanging in the air, it wouldn't work as well. So you have to have something that gives people a reason to go, yeah, I think I'll call that guy, or I think I'll call that lady. So on purpose, the postcard is sort of a copy of that billboard so that it sort of, builds consistency. People are seeing that and recognizing that it's the same person that's on that billboard that they're passing when they're coming home from work every day. And then my yard signs are sort of similar. And so it just kind of builds that consistency. The back side of the postcard, I change up the message every time. It's got some things on there that stay on there all the time, of just offers to, for a free listing consultation, just to get an idea of what your home's worth, and, maybe some tips to get it ready for the market. But I change up the message. I think the next one that's coming out, the numbers that you mentioned earlier, I just realized the other day that I had passed 400 mark on homes sold in the Chelsea market. And so, I'm going to say something about that on there. But I find that I don't know. I mean, yes, you want to have something on there that gives people a reason to call you, but that postcard to me is a consistent thing that goes out every month, and it is just a burning an image in people's minds when they're not even ready to sell yet. They're already conditioned to think when they get ready to sell their house, my name's at least going to be in the mix of people that they're going to think about calling. So I make the comment all the time that my goal is to make an impression on somebody between the mailbox and the trash can.
Well, and it works because I get his postcards, y'all, and I love to get them every month. And about how much is that costing you per month?
I need to look at the exact number that I'm sending out. I want to say that it's about 12,000 are going out every month, and it's costing me right now right around $2,000 a month on that, and the billboards are another $750 or so. So I'm spending about $3,000 a month just on that. Hey, here's what I'm spending to try to get the phone to ring with people who want to list their house.
Okay, so a couple of tips there for our friends in the audience. You heard that he's sending out about 12,000. Someone asked in the chat box a while ago about how big does your farming area need to be? Through the years of me coaching and doing marketing for agents, I have found that your farm needs to be about 1,200 minimum or more. And the reason is, and the reason that Chad has these calls consistently, or come list me, is because he's sending out so many. He's sending out about 12,000. And so you've got to have so many people that are thinking about moving. It's a small percentage in that 12,000, but that is one of the things that keeps his numbers up. And really overall, Chad, that's a pretty low dollar spent when you're talking about reaching that many people. So direct mail for the agent in the chat box who said, how do I get in touch with people when we can't put signs out? That's how you do it. You send straight to that mailbox so that people get to know who you are. And remember, it takes time. It takes at least 8 times for people to even associate your name with real estate. So you can't do it for 8 months and say, well, that didn't work. Like once a month for 8 months. Chad's been doing this for years. So you want to be able to.
This year is the first time that I have consistently done it every month. I think last year I did 9 of the 12 months. The year before that, it was, probably about the same, but it's been a slow build up over time. I mean, as a new agent, it's hard to have the money to go out there and do that right off the bat. And it started small with me. I didn't start with, taking on the whole town. It started, when I lived in another area of town, and I started doing it in the neighborhood that I lived in, which at the time was probably, 700 homes or something like that. And the year that I moved from that neighborhood, I think I had done 42 transactions that year, and 17 of them were in that one neighborhood. So that's a big percentage, and a lot of it came from just people knowing who I was because I stayed visible.
That's huge. So, Tina, what have you been seeing as far as your favorite leads? Your favorite lead source, I know, is your sphere of influence. So how are you staying in front of them?
I normally send out, I do postcards. I do what I call reminders through the mail. Like I will send out, I do 2 separate mailings a month, and I have 2 separate databases. And some of them may get a card that states just a reminder of who I am, what I do, and my services are available even if they don't want to list, or if they just need some real estate information. My other mail out consists of I want their property. I want to list their home. I want to sell their home. It's a more heavier postcard, and all my postcards are changed up. I do not send the same card more than one time. I change front and back. And one of my postcards are always a jumbo card. My other postcard is more personable. It's a smaller card, but I send out probably about I'm going to say 5,400 is where I'm at right now a month. And they go to different neighborhoods, they go to different areas, they prospect to different people, different demographics, different households. So I'm trying to keep the market out there to where if someone might not need my services, they might know someone that does. So my favorite lead for listing and prospecting is my postcards monthly.
Perfect. And so, Gusty, anything that you want to add to that? Are you doing any direct mail right now?
We're doing some direct mail, but it's our sphere, and it's related to we're doing a postcard for every one of our agents, and what we're doing is we're sending a new testimonial every month to their database. And what we're just trying to do is we're just trying to separate ourselves and themselves from the sphere, because every consumer knows 7 agents. So we're just trying to consistently set ourselves apart from everybody. So we do that. We also, each one of our agents have 50 that we tag in our CRM, and we send to those folks quarterly in Lifestyle magazine, and we've had some great feedback on that. So those are a few things that we do, but that's geared to our database. But we want to be in front of them so that they reach out to us, and we want to sell our house or send us referrals, all that kind of good stuff.
Well, again, sphere of influence is so important because you can actually take one and turn it into 3. And every single person that you come in contact with, when they're talking about selling their house, when they're selling their house, they're talking to all of their friends. They're talking to everybody about their experience. They're talking about the anxiety, the advice that they've been given. So our job is to train the people that are in front of us to give us at least 2 or 3 referrals through the process. So we have made these referral cards for agents in the past that you can use after you get everything settled for this one person. You get hired, you get a listing agreement signed, then you can go right on into a script that says, Tina, I absolutely love working for people just like you. I'm sure you've been talking to a ton of people about getting your household sold. Surely you must know of some other people. What 3 people do you know that need to sell your house, sell a house in the next 60 days? And when you ask that question during the process 3 different times, then you should be able to turn 1 into 3 and make your life a lot easier. That's called training your foot soldiers. And there's several questions on here. So a lot of people want to know, Chad, like, where are how are you sending these mail outs?
We're just staff that does. I'll have to figure out if it's Vistaprint or whatever it is, but they get everything printed out and then we send it out. So I'll have to double check on that.
Well, we've used Vistaprint in the past. Chad uses a company called MSpark, and you can use Everydoor Direct. I've used a ton of Everydoor Direct for agents, and that's through the USPS. And Zach just put a copy of the referral card that I was just talking about that you can easily use. Yeah, Quantum Digital is a good one. There are lots of mail companies that you can research and find. Now, if you're a brand new agent and you're looking at the cost of direct mail and you're saying to yourself, there's no way I can do this. I can't spend $2,000 a month. I can't spend $500 a month. Then one thing that you could do that I've encouraged people in the past is to get a sponsor to go in with you and split them. A lender is not always your best sponsor because a lender has to measure out the size of the ads that they have to do. So you want to think of another company that would also benefit. And one of the best companies that we have found that get jobs and get responses from it are hardscape companies, like people who put in outdoor kitchens and people who put in pools. They get really good response by teaming up with agents and hitting up neighborhoods. So all right, a lot of good stuff here for sure. All right, so what about reviews, y'all? Gusty, I think you have the most reviews of anybody in Birmingham. What kind of process do you have for getting those?
Yeah, I mean we're focused on Zillow, Facebook, Google. We've also done some stuff on Yelp. I think we've got like almost 100 reviews on Zillow. We've got over 150 on Facebook, 100 on Google, and you've got to be consistent in asking for the review. So during the process, we're asking for a review. Typically, we ask for that usually around the third week. We remind them in the fourth week, and we're also reminding them after they move in. So we just talk about how important the review is for us, and so I would say probably we get maybe 15%, 10% back. People just don't like doing reviews. But that's why we have to stay consistent. Another way that we typically get a good many of them, if we do like a monthly drawing, and we'll say, hey, we've got a monthly one for like a $25 gift card to Starbucks or something like that, and then you get one free for testimonial, and so we'll see significant increases in that. And then we'll do like a Facebook Live and do the draw. So that's been how we've been able to kind of get probably a few more than usual.
Well, you do a really good job with it, and it works. So somebody just said in the audience that they're trying to stay away from Zillow. What's your comment on that?
Zillow is like your the necessary evil. It's kind of like social media. It's like that's just the necessary evil. Look, go where the audience is. Where's the consumer looking? They're on Zillow. Zillow ranks high in search engines. So, when people are considering working, they're going to Google you, and they're probably going to look at your Zillow profile, and they're probably going to look at your reviews. So, unfortunately, it's probably where you need to put at least some of your reviews. And also somebody put, how do you prioritize that? My recommendation would be Google should be number one. Should be number two, probably Yelp number three, or really Facebook number three. But you got to be on Zillow because it is your online resume. Zillow to me is like the real estate. So you've got to have a presence.
I'd agree with Gusty on that. I don't give Zillow any money because I agree that with people that don't like them, but they are a necessary evil. I don't like to support them monetarily, but I know that buyers and sellers are on there and they're using it. So I've got over 50 reviews on Zillow, and I frequently have people, they may get my postcard and stuff, but then they're going to go and they're going to Google you. They're going to try to find you. So I've got a lot of reviews on there, and so they check me out and they see what other people are saying. I've started asking for Google reviews. I want to build that side of it. So I've got an email template set up in KV Core so that after the home closes, I just automatically send out a request with the links to the Google and Zillow reviews, asking them to, if they don't mind, reviewing those, either hit both spots or pick their favorite or whatever they'd like to do. And so that's been good.
And Tina, you do a great job with testimonials. So what's your process?
Genny, I do what is called a consumer research report. And after each closing, I mail out a questionnaire. I find that I ask for Google reviews, I ask for recommendations through Zillow, but a lot of times people just don't want to take the time, I have found. So I send out a consumer research report. It is a survey, and I ask to be graded on how my service was for them during the transaction. I also ask for them to put in there any complaints or any recommendations of how I could improve my services. The one thing that past client doesn't know is that I read those, that I do get a copy of those. They are mailed back to a post office box that is not affiliated with my name or my business. So when they sign that, they also are given permission for me to place their recommendations, their testimony on my website or anywhere else on social media. It does help me to find out my weaknesses of how I can improve without that client knowing that I've been made aware of it. So I do take and I put those over on my website when I do get those recommendations or testimonials back. When I get a bad review, I also try to make up for it, and I put them at the top of my repair list to rebuild my relationship back with them.
Wow, that is great information right there. I used to send out surveys for my coaching clients after they had closing, so that it was a third party, and you'd be amazed how many of those I got back. So that's really good info for you guys in the audience to be able to implement. It's really good. So as we're talking about the struggle and talking about
hey Genny, can I add one thing?
Yeah.
Hey, sorry. So one thing, actually, when you're asking for these reviews, I never ask for a review. I always ask for a testimonial. And so typically if you're asking for a testimonial, that's a more positive way. And if somebody did not have a good experience, they're going to tell you about it. And, a review just has a little more of a negative connotation. So if you ask for a testimonial, you will get a better, more positive response. So I just want to share that.
You're absolutely right. A testimonial is positive. These days, people go in, they love to give reviews because they love to say negative things online and hide behind them, which actually is another good way for you to get listings, and that's free. If you're brand new, one of the things that you might want to do is go and think of all the small businesses that you can give very positive reviews and endorsements to. I had an agent who was a $40 million producer. She asked her to do that in her business. She reviewed a home builder that morning and took a $700,000 listing, $700,000 listing from that builder by the afternoon from a review. So it's a great way for you to have positivity out on social media platforms that are connected to your name. and be able to highlight them so that you'll stay top of mind. When you say really nice things about other people on social media, they remember you and they want to reciprocate in some way. So it's a great thing for you to do. So this says review small businesses where. So you could take one business and you could review it on Facebook, then you could review it on LinkedIn, then you can review it on Google, just like what Gusty was saying. You've got all kind of options to really, show some positivity around small businesses, because that's where you're going to become the mayor of your city, like Chad was saying, when you connect with these people, because they're going to be your referral partners. Whenever, so I was coaching agents for 10 years and just got back into sales last January. And most of all of my listings have been referrals. One of the best ways for you to get listings are doing network stacks. And if you don't have anything going on right now, a network stack is really good to do. And I got this term from Michael Mayer's book, 7 Levels of Communication, or 7L. And see, I'll type it for you in just a minute if you haven't read it, but he tells you to go and meet with 4 people a day, once a week. And that's actually what ended up getting me all the listing referrals that I needed for the first year. And I was able to hit Icon my first year back into sales last year. So it's a great thing for you to do, get in front of people. And you've got to have more conversations, really, is where the listings are going to come from. You hear the huge sphere of influence, you hear the huge reach that Chad and Tina have. You got to be in front of as many people as you can. So people have to know you, and then people have to trust you. They have to know that you are referable. And that's where those testimonials come in. That's where a lot of your social media posts showing the clients, all of that, again, builds trust when there is scarcity. When there's scarcity, people want the best of the best. All right, so I feel like, are y'all getting a lot out of this class?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay, so we've got, Zach is about to post for you a whole list of seller lead sources. And you've heard us say that your database is the number one. And if you don't have a database, then that's going to be a lot more difficult for you to get started, right? So no matter where you are in your career, you want to be able to, thank y'all, thank you. I always want to make sure we get tons of meat. You want to really take the time, sit down and fill out your database of everyone you know and everyone who knows you. And you want to make sure that you do have some sort of relationship. It could be that bank teller at the bank that you always go to their line. And right now, probably a lot of banks aren't open. But you want to make sure you include everyone in here. So you can start by taking a graduation list, or taking a holiday card list, or maybe a wedding list. You can start there and then add daily to it, so that you get your sphere of influence to this beautiful place. When you have 150 people in your sphere of influence that are consistently marketed to and loved on, then that should net you about 30 sales a year. Okay, so just think, if you double it, then that should get you about 60. And he just put the memory jogger in the chat box, so that all you have to do is just print that out, and it will give you people to prompt to create your database with that. Do y'all want to say anything about database, Gusty? I know that you are big on this with your team.
Yeah, I mean, I think having a database is the foundation of business. So, if you don't have a database, then, you need to just take some time, whether it's 30 days, and just, buckle up and just knock it out. But that's really the foundation of your business. And so if you're looking to grow and you're, really want this to be your career, you have to have a database. You've got to consistently add to the database. You're never ever going to complete your database because you always want to meet people. So it doesn't matter if it's in Excel, doesn't matter if it's in KV Core, doesn't matter if whatever CRM you use, just make sure it's in there. That's going to be the best CRM, whatever one you're going to use. So make sure you input that information. I'll continue to add people to it, and database is important, man.
And don't talk yourself out of every time you write someone's name down. Don't talk yourself out of, well, they know so and so, and they know so and so. Again, whenever you can make that impression, and if you're brand new, just say you're brand new. And say what you bring to the table. Someone asked that question in the chat box. Is it honest for me to send out a postcard saying to hire me if I'm brand new? Absolutely, because you've got energy, and just put what you bring to the table. Sellers, when I've interviewed these home sellers, they actually will take energy over experience. They want enthusiasm more than anything. And if you're new, a lot of times you're going to have that enthusiasm. So you do need to create a client nurture plan so that you can stay in front of them. And that can include gifts, that can include text messages, videos, emails, so that you're sending real value and not all about real estate. But one of the things that Chad did when he started doing postcards was he would put a bunch of souls on a postcard and mail out. People want to see you having success in real estate, and all of that will help. If you're brand new and you haven't done anything yet, just do something on social media that associates yourself with doing something in real estate every day, even if it's previewing a house or if it's a picture of you in front of a neighborhood sign. That way it'll go from there, and then you'll be able to show clients. So
I'd like to add on the sphere of influence thing and just building your database of people. I'd encourage everybody to kind of think outside the box a little bit. It's not just family and friends. And I just sold a house for a family, and then turned around and sold them another house, and that was about, between the two deals, about $500,000 in volume. And it was a guy that I met about 3 years ago that did some work on my deck in my backyard. And, I've referred him a couple of small jobs and everything. And when they got ready to do something, they called me. And then I'm closing 2 transactions tomorrow that were referred to me by my son's second grade teacher. And the kicker to that story is that my son just turned 21 years old. So you just never know where the business is going to come from, and everybody you meet is a potential client or referral source. And I don't say that to say everybody that you meet, you need to look at them with dollar signs in your eyes. I'm just saying, take care of people, treat them right, stay in touch with them, and make sure that they know what you do. And over time, that builds a pretty good business.
I love that story because we chatted about that this week. I mean, how great is that? And this will happen for you too as you stay in front of people with a client nurture plan. So we are wrapping up. What additional questions can we answer for you? The survey is in the chat. We'll be leading up a class on the next hour as well, called How to Convert Buyers and Avoid Overwhelm in a Fast-Moving Market. So we want to make sure that we answer anything we can for you today, because you've got some awesome people up here on this stage. You're just amazing agents.
Even if we are in Alabama.
Okay, so Let's see. And you got a roll tide there. Oh, well,
Roll
we had a
Tide.
question. I had a $1.15 million listing this summer. I held an open house and with COVID protocols, and I met a couple who checking people were nice. They called me a few days later and bought a different home for 1.1. There you go. That's awesome. Yes. And when you turn 1 into 3, like right now, I've got a listing, and as soon as it goes under contract, I'm listing the one across the street. You want to get to know as many people in the neighborhood whenever you do take a listing. And the power of a just sold card is huge. So put that on your plan if you can. If you don't have a whole lot of money to spend, and we don't want you to spend more than your budget, send out 30 just solds around that house, or send out 50. Make sure though you have it on social media and that it gets to your sphere of influence either by email or also in a mail. So Gusty, you've got a question.
All right, what is it?
I'm looking. Gusty, do you personally get in the field anymore?
I see it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out a little bit, as much as I used to. I mean, 5 years ago I was selling 70 plus houses myself. This year I think might sell 12. So I'm doing a lot of coaching and mentoring other agents. Doing a lot of attraction to EXP, and was able to flip a house that is under contract. So I got kind of irons in a lot of fires.
Yes, I would say all of us on stage, we have that. We got a lot of stuff going on, and who wouldn't want to do attraction to this this company? It's the best company ever. So thank y'all so much for being here today. We just really appreciate it. As we're gonna be sticking around because we're also gonna be hosting this next class. So I'm happy to continue answering any questions up until that 1 o'clock mark. But make sure you fill out your survey. It's in the chat box for sure. All right, so somebody's asking how to do graphics on social media. I would suggest Canva. It's a good place to start, and it's easy to use, and it's free. Thank you all so much. The next class is called How to Convert Buyers and Avoid Overwhelm in a Fast-Moving Market. So the next class is all about buyers.
Tina, send me your little your file, the review that you send out to people. I'd love to check that out.
I know, that's such a great idea. And y'all, we're wrapping up, so we're happy to answer questions. We're just hanging out till 1 o'clock. But y'all, give it up for Chad, Gusty, and Tina. They're awesome.
This is always a lot of fun.
Well, we just want to give back as much as we can. This is a scarce market for listings and inventory, and any tips that we can give and pass along to help you in your career, that's what we want to do.
I will say, Jenny, one thing I tell people all the time is, persistence, patience, and consistency pay off. You just have to keep working. If you're a new agent and you're just getting started, don't get discouraged. Just keep working, stay in front of people, find ways to, whether it's doing open houses or following up with leads for another agent that has overflow leads or something like that. Just continue practicing talking to people about real estate, because even if you talk to someone and they don't do business with you, it just gets you more and more comfortable with having those conversations and questions that come up. And so the next time you're a little better prepared. So I'd say just keep at it. Don't give up. Those of us on stage have been doing it a while. I've been around for 23 years, and my first few years were pretty rocky, and heck, there are still times now that the ups and downs where you're like, okay, it's slower than I'd like it to be. So you just have to stay at it and stay visible.
Absolutely, stay visible. And we've got 165 users. Zach, could you put my 6-figure day? Would you mind? There is something that you absolutely can do. If you put all of your prospecting energy on finding listings every single week and going on listing appointments every single week, the buyers will come. So Zach just posted in the chat a 6-figure day. This is something that you can focus on all your activities and get 100 to 140 points per day where you are being productive, and you can change up your days every single day if you want to on doing fun things to create those listing leads, and print those out, use it every single day. And Tina Burke just says, my 6-figure day works. It's very productive, and you will see results. And you actually will see it. If you do it, you will see results. So, happy for you to put that into your daily routine. We've got about 8 more minutes until we start the buyer class, and still we are happy to answer any questions. My 6-figure day is a productivity tool that you can use to make sure that you are doing items that are actually productive, that will generate income for you. So if you download it, and you can add your points up daily. Yay! All right, and so someone just asked, how do you suggest to find your niche? Well, I think you heard from Chad, like his niche is his town. He wants to be, that expert in his town and his city, and he is the #1 agent in his city. And for Gusty,
Genny, I think your niche can be anything. It can be your neighborhood, it can be a town, it can be, your niche could be working with heck, it could be working with clients that are getting divorced. It could be, working with, single moms. I mean, just whatever, kind of thing that you're drawn to, that you've got a connection to, that you can kind of carve out a niche in. It can be anything like that.
Yes, absolutely. It can be first-time home sellers. First-time home sellers, you could market that totally different than your move-ups, or they're probably going to be moving up, but you could offer so much more value just to that. Genny, how many points do you usually get? Okay, so you want to have 100 or over. You want to have over 100 every single day. I love that most of your business comes from NASCAR. That's so cool. And so, yeah, you can be an expert on a certain segment of the market or a certain geographical area.
That might be the coolest niche I've ever heard.
Isn't it? No kidding. Well, there's some people who have a niche with horses. There's some people that have a niche with luxury. All right, we're getting started here in about minutes. See, yours is historic homes. I love that. Okay, any tips for new agents to start building momentum and get going? Yes, Michael, definitely use my 6-figure day to get that momentum going, because even experienced agents can be super busy all year long. Then they can just go through a lull period. And so everybody needs to sometimes get that momentum going back in their business. And it's in the chat box, is my 6-figure day, but that will give you all kinds of ideas to really get you going. And productivity brings on more productivity. So they can't get the link to open.
Hey, to think about if you're like a new agent and really start building momentum, see if there's another agent in or area that you can kind of shadow or, you know, just help them out, whether it's for or whatever. But, you know, it might allow them to, you know, send you a referral or two. Do some open houses. We've been had some really good luck at doing open houses and picking clients. So, you know, those are a couple of good ways to really kind of start building some momentum. And then even on social media, having some sort of daily post about real estate. And it's not like, hey, will you use me? But you can talk about like, oh my God, I saw this like amazing kitchen today while I was showing houses, that kind of stuff. So there's ways that you can kind of slide it in there.
And I think, Gusty, I like that idea of being consistent with posting real estate related things, but you want it to be sort of subtle. I mean, you don't want to always be, you know, a listing or something. You know, you can, you know, like Jenny talked about earlier, posting, you know, maybe a couple of pictures of something that you're showing. I know a lot of people do really good with their Instagram and Facebook stories of kind of just painting a picture of their day and cool places they're going and things that they're doing with clients. And so I think that there's a lot of value in that and just being real and personal, but not trying to be too salesy on your social media.
Right. And someone just asked if Instagram is outdated, and I'd have to say no. One of Chad's mentees, Mary Martin Brown, she is a brand new agent this year. She just capped, and most of her sales have come from Instagram.
Yeah, I would probably recommend following Mary Martin on Insta. Um, she does a great job of branding, and I think it's pretty amazing to be able to cap the first year. So
Yeah, she's really amazing at what she does, and she just gets on there and is very real. And her niche right now is first time buyers. She's 25 years old, and she gets on and gives little tips and things that people wouldn't know. And a lot of her sphere of influence sees those and thinks, man, I didn't even know that'd be possible for me to buy a house. And then they call her and she sells them a house. She's going to end up selling about $4.5 million worth of real estate in her first year. She just got licensed in December of 2019.
somebody also said, "What is you know, what's your social media?" And I think it really depends on you. What works best for me is Facebook. A lot of our agents, our team, their best is Instagram. I'm also a big fan of LinkedIn. So, you know, I'd say my true favorite is Facebook and LinkedIn. My wife is definitely Instagram. So I think it just depends on what you like best.
I agree. Facebook is probably where most of my business comes from. Do you use Facebook ads to advertise? Yes. I don't really do boosted listings. Zach, who's been posting here, he is my marketing manager and manages all of that for me. And he is awesome at Facebook ads.
Yeah, we do. We did both. We've got certain campaigns for Facebook ads, and then we also do listings, mainly around open houses.
All right, we got 1 more minute till we're switching over to the buyer class. All right, it is 1 o'clock. So